do love talking to Jake Fromm about stuff like this because he just has the perspective on this that I think only comes when you've kind of filled these shoes and sort of been in that spot. So, Jake, if you don't mind, let me kind of begin right there. What's your initial reaction when you hear not like, Johnny Blog, but like ESPN saying Carson Beck can be and right now is the top returning quarterback in college football? I'm sort of interested in your thoughts on this on kind of two fronts. A, do you believe that's true? And B, are you okay with a guy like that kind of getting that level of attention and fame because maybe Beck's a little older, maybe he's more prepared to handle that? What do you make of this just sort of the natural attention that Georgia quarterbacks sort of always seem to get?
Yeah, what's up, Brandon? As always, a pleasure to be here on the show with you. And when talking about Carson, it's just I'm not surprised at all. I mean, this is a guy who went out and he did it last year, had a lot of success, and really made just some huge monumental strides throughout the season. Like you could just tell with each and every game, he's getting better, he's getting more comfortable, and also too, he's got all the tools. He's a tall guy, he's long, he's got a really good arm, and you can tell that he's seeing the game and seeing everything happen much better with every single game as he progresses. And so, man, I'm excited to see where he starts off from day one and game one. And because I think his floor is really high, and I think his ceiling could really be up there.
I think the sport's a little bit different now than it was a few years ago, even when you were playing, where, like back then, I think you and I have talked about this before, it was a little bit of a freshman quarterback era. You were playing as a true freshman. There were other examples of guys. I mean, before you, Jacob Eason had played at Georgia as a true freshman. It seems like the sport has kind of gone more in the direction of, kind of older quarterbacks. Obviously, Stetson is maybe the best example of that of all, but we've seen, a lot of experienced quarterbacks kind of leading their team, the last few years here a little bit. How much does that extra age, the fact that Carson came here in 2020, that's a good while ago now, how much did that extra age sort of help him as he now tries to kind of put one more stamp on his college career here this year?
Yeah, I mean, two other names that come to mind, Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr.
Good point.
I mean, I think there's there's a level of experience and then confidence, and then you're allowed to see another guy make mistakes, and I think it kind of fast tracks you on your success route of having seen it, but maybe not done the mistakes, and being able to, if you can learn as a younger quarterback and a backup quarterback without necessarily doing it and making the mistakes, I think it's huge for your development, huge for your confidence level. And obviously Carson has just been the poster child for that kind of learning curve. And I think it's going to really show up great for him this season.
I played a clip of Ladd McConkey a moment ago, and he was talking about Carson Beck, but obviously Ladd was one of the stories last week in the NFL Scouting Combine. You've told me before how much you enjoy watching Ladd McConkey play. How thrilled are you then when he goes out and has himself a great week? Now, this is also a really crowded crop of very talented wide receivers right now, but, Ladd kind of made his case for, certainly a second-round pick, maybe a first-round pick. How impressed were you with the way that Ladd McConkey kind of put that sort of finishing touch on his Georgia career by really going out there and demonstrating a lot of athleticism at the NFL Scouting Combine last week?
Yeah, I'm a huge Ladd McConkey fan, and he just exceeded my expectations of what he did. With the testing, sometimes people can get a little, enamored with testing, and, you want, for me anyway, you want to make sure that the testing matches what you see on film. And, man, it not only matched it, man, it really just solidified kind of Ladd as a top name and a top receiver in this year's draft. And I'm really excited to see his future and where he ends up. And, man, I couldn't be more thrilled for him.
And all the sort of stuff that people kind of all say all the time. To me, the Combine was a reminder of the fact that while Ladd McConkey's overall success at Georgia was admittedly a surprise to most of us, I'll be completely honest about that. It totally caught me off guard. I didn't expect this at all. But when you go back and watch the way that he succeeded, it wasn't smoke and mirrors. He did it by running past defensive backs, by getting behind the defense. So it's not a surprise that he ran a fast 40 time. He was great at the sort of red zone touchdowns because he was a good leaper. Like, it's not sneaky athleticism. It's just athleticism. It's not sneaky speed. It's just speed. Like Lad McConkey really is just a very good athlete, and it was his athleticism that he used to be successful at Georgia.
Yeah, 100%. And man, I think Lad could have been even so much better if he could have just, stayed a little bit healthier. He was always had something nagging him every time I went by the facilities, getting treatment on something. And, I just wish, for his sake and his career, he could have been a little bit more healthier. But man, you see, after watching this combine and what he ran and the numbers he put up, just how much maybe even better he could have been being healthy and being 100%, because like you said, it's not sneaky. He's just fast, and he understands football. He understands route running, and obviously can make the catches in the big plays as well along with it. So once again, man, really excited for his future and excited to see where his career ends up.
All right, I want to lean on your experience having been around Kirby Smart here for a moment, because Kirby gave an interview last week, and he talked about just the honest truth that he kind of sees himself as sort of in the middle of his coaching career right now. Not quite a young guy anymore. There's younger coaches than him now in the sport. He's been here, I guess, going on year 9. So if you take Kirby like literally at his word, maybe it's like 8 or 9 more years of Kirby Smart sort of doing the things that Georgia's been doing the last few years. So I'm kind of curious from your perspective, because I see you like one of two ways to look at this. On the one hand, Kirby burns the candle so hot on both ends that some people might say, well, this can't last forever. But the flip side of that is, what else could you see Kirby Smart doing other than doing this here at Georgia? Like, do you have a sense about, do you see Kirby being here as long as Vince Dooley was, 25 years? Do you see him doing like Bob Stoops, for instance? He was kind of at the top of his coaching profession when he decided to sort of step away there to Oklahoma, and he never came back, no matter how many rumors suggested that he might. Like, what do you see like 10, 15 years into the future when it comes to Kirby Smart?
Yeah, man, that's just such a tough and loaded question, because I could sit here and make an argument for both sides. I think he loves the game. He just, me and a couple other guys, who've been around it and know ball and know what it takes, at the college level, the NFL level. I mean, we joke around that, a lot of these coaches, they have a disease and they have a sickness, because they love ball so much.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Coach Smart is really the epitome of that, and he loves ball, and he's got a great family with some great kids, and I know he wants to spend some more time with them. And I think if he can find a way to do both here and still have the same success on the field, I think he'll try to do both for as long as he can.
Yeah, what you're describing is the kind of thing that I wish more people got a chance to see, because I only get to see a tiny glimpse of it. Every now and then they'll invite the media to be a part of practice. I'm not always there, but when I am, like, the one thing that I sort of recognize about him and some of the other coaches who've been with him for a long time, at least by visual appearance, there's no example of burnout anywhere. And for most people in their real lives, kind of getting tired of sort of doing the same old, that's the type of thing that a lot of people deal with in their real lives. And yet for Kirby Smart, there's almost seemingly none of that when you see him at practice or you see something like that, he is just as hands-on, perhaps sometimes more so than the players really wish. He's just as hands-on now, at least to my eyes, as he ever was. And that sort of indefatigable energy I find to be really inspiring, and I wish more Georgia fans got a chance to truly see that, because it's kind of a cool thing to see, even though that, 8 and 9 years worth of doing it at this level and at the energy level that requires, that's pretty remarkable.
I mean, absolutely, I agree with you. Love the word indefatigable, man. That is awesome. But at the end of the day, he learned from the best. He learned from Coach Saban, and not that he's always going to try to meet Saban's standards or maybe try to surpass them. But at the end of the day, he learned how the best in the business did it, and I think he probably picked up a few things from him, and I think he's going to do it for as long as he wants to. And, how long is that? I don't know. But, man, as long as they keep winning, I think he'll be around, and I think he'll keep enjoying it.
Let me squeeze in one more question for you. But prior to that, let me remind folks, this is, of course, our Kroger Fresh Take with Jake Fromm here on DawgNation Daily here today. And we always remind you during this portion of our show that you got a chance to really take advantage of a great opportunity from Kroger. We talked earlier about kind of enjoying, the time you've got with Kirby Smart. Well, enjoy all of your time when you get more time back by making the decision to become a member of Kroger Boost. That means you get more time to enjoy the things you love because you can get free grocery delivery. You're not schlepping across town and getting your groceries. Kroger's going to bring those groceries to you. That's awesome. Plus, here's another thing that's awesome, putting more money back in your pocket. How about by earning twice the fuel points for the things you're already buying at Kroger? They give you a chance to do all of that. So I want you to find out more about why this membership opportunity from Kroger could be the right choice for you. Find them online, Kroger.com/boost. That's Kroger.com/boost for more on that today. All right, Jake, let's finish with this. Georgia getting ready to start spring practice next week. And I'm sort of curious because I think some of us want to have the right perspective on kind of how to view spring practice. So as a player who went through this grind a lot, maybe you're kind of observing how this is kind of playing out for Georgia here right now. Any tips, any advice on those of us who maybe don't have that personal experience about how we can best sort of view what's going to happen for these few weeks for Georgia leading into G-Day there on April 13th? How does a former player observe what's happening at a Georgia spring practice?
Yeah, for me, the way I look at spring is it's huge for early enrollees. It's huge for quarterbacks. I would argue nobody takes spring practice more serious than Kirby and the Dogs, just because it's an opportunity to get ahead. And these practices are serious. They're for real. They're high intensity. I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of guys and a lot of young guys fighting for these positions and these spots and for playing time, and gives them an opportunity to show what they got and what they've been working on for the entire offseason.
Jake, I mean this sincerely. I love your insight. I think you bring so much to the conversation in terms of your own personal experience with all of this, and I think you're a great storyteller when it comes to these types of things there as well. So thank you for being here as a part of our Kroger Fresh Take here today. Really, really appreciate that, and we hope to get a chance to talk to you very soon here on DawgNation Daily there as well.
Yeah, thank you, Brandon. I always appreciate you.
Good stuff.